Everybody, Lisa, whenever you're ready.
Mr. Cantala Mesa,
Here.
Mr. Malloy,
Here.
Ms. Frenchco.
Commissioner, we do have some, people with, I recognize with different asks. Maybe we should have them be at the front of the line here. Sure, that'd be fine. Anybody that has, something that's not on the agenda you wanna talk about, I guess we can put you up first to take care of your time. Rita, go ahead, you can.
I'm Rita Tate, from Best Purpose.
Come on up here so the microphone can capture you.
I'm with Best Purpose, 710 Highland Avenue Southwest, right here in Warren. I had the pleasure of having Mr. Cantala Mesa visit with me on Wednesday, and, so he can get a tour of the facility during the wonderful storm we had, and, during our delivery. And I changed things, and Ms. Martha, I changed my budget according, I put it that there's no salary in it. I put it to where it is just the remodeling and the renovations of, the building. And me and Mr. Cantala Mesa spoke about possibly the Teamsters or volunteers or people that could possibly help me, fix some of the issues that are in there that I'm asking for the grant. And, that's basically, you have a question?
Well, if you've changed some things, I'll probably need that in writing
I
to add to the, so if you can email that to me.
Okay.
And then I will add that to what we have, and it's currently, as you know, it's currently on the maybe list. They're gonna, look, after we get through the yes list, they're going to address the maybes. And so any updates to it, just go ahead and send to me, and, I will put on the Commissioner's Drive, and I'll hold until they're ready to send it.
Absolutely, and that's what, Mr. Cantala Mesa's, advisement, I did remove the salaries out of there. I
Great.
put it
Well,
just for,
And Rita, I think that, in looking at the building, first of all, it's structurally very sound. I mean, there does need to be some cosmetic improvements for sure. And I would think that in order to get this thing off the ground, that would be your first priority. That's the only reason I mentioned it to you is, a lot of those capital improvements that you can make to the building,
yeah.
probably would get you up and running a little quicker. I love the concept of the idea, and I love what you've done in Youngstown and Mahoning County. I know Mahoning County Commissioners have been gracious and donated, was it?
$40,000 for my truck, and I received that check on Friday.
Okay,
And, I pick it up on Monday.
okay,
And, that'll keep me from harping everything, and, it can keep it moving.
yeah,
And we are, if not over 80 now, home
okay,
furnished. So we are, and quite a few of the people here in Trumbull County, because I have Mahoning County's money, I do not use Mahoning County's money, so I've been out of my own pocket taking care of Trumbull County's people, just making sure I get out there and get my name out there so
Right.
that I can be working. So I would just ask, once you guys get the new proposal, if you would look at it and
yeah, and I know
consider it.
I saw you submitted it. I haven't had a chance to look at it yet, but, I figured you'd be here today and we could discuss it, but, we will look at it and I will forward it.
Okay, I did not get it.
I don't know if you were CC'd on it. Was she,
Okay.
was she copied
And
on
I
that?
thought you were, but
I
that's
don't,
okay.
I don't recall seeing
If
it.
not,
Well, if not, I'll forward it to her,
That's
and I'll
fine.
forward it
Thank you. I
to all three
appreciate that.
commissioners.
I appreciate you
That's
guys
great.
so very
Yeah.
much.
Anything else you wanted to add, Rita? I love the, just talk about the concept for a minute here, just a quick
The
minute.
concept is, people coming out of the Battered Women's Center, Sojourner House, Compass Family Services, the Rescue Mission, they have absolutely nothing. And once they establish that they get their apartment or housing, show me their rental agreement or their lease. My husband and I, we furnish it. We furnish probably over 60 cribs and close to 80 beds, dressers, kitchen tables, you name it, the essentials. And then on top of that, we also give them a voucher for the Goodwill so that they can get their, forks, spoons, knives, anything like that. Then I hook up with, it's called Mother's Cupboard. They do all the toiletries for them. things that they need to get started, like right now. When they're running, they're running, and we need them to make sure that they're in a safe environment so that they don't have to go back to their abusers and/or a rescue mission.
So essentially, the facility is something that keeps those products basically moving, couches,
Absolutely.
chair, whatever they need to move in and,
Get
into a new
started.
facility.
Furniture and stuff, yeah.
Furniture, all
Is it a lot of it donated, or do you purchase it?
A lot of it's donated. I've purchased probably about 50 beds,
Do you have
because
partnerships with like Big Lots or any outlet stores or anything like that?
it's, Sleepy Hollow Outlet. They give me a complete pillow top, mattress, box spring, and, frame for $100.
Wow.
Children's twin beds, they give me those, the mattress, box spring, frame for $75. So I have, as far as with bedding, because that has to be brought brand new only with the mattresses because of the bed bug issues. With, as far as furniture, donations has been coming in, because I go to every church and let every church know, not being funny, you have parishioners that pass away, can I please come to your house and I'll empty it for you? You don't have to clean it out, I'll empty it for you. So, we have a couple volunteers that we ask, and they come in with me and we clean the house out for them and take it, and it's like a vicious cycle. Every day, we're probably delivering 2 to 3 homes.
Martha, you're a Trumbull County Auditor, and you may have mentioned this before, but have you worked at all with Sleep in Heavenly Peace?
I do, they were
Okay.
so backed up, that's the reason why,
Okay.
with, Sleepy Hollow, they marked where it gives it for $75 for the complete children's bed, and $125 for bunk beds. So,
Very good.
and that way, if nobody sleep on floors, I just need to mention this, Mahoney County had cots for when COVID was very prevalent. They had they're steel with just the blue mat for makeshift emergency rooms. With that, they had over 300 for me. I probably passed out for emergency bedding right away until I can find funding, because I'm going off of Weems Foundation. They're $6,000 since September with purchasing beds. Sometimes they have to use the cots for now until I can buy them a bed. So,
That's better than the hard floor, though, I guess.
absolutely, absolutely. And so Sleep in Heavenly Peace, they are backed up. They go in your house, they done built the twin beds, one lady received 5 beds, one household.
Well, thank you for what you do in the community, and, I will forward over the application to both the auditor and Commissioner Floyd.
Thank you so
That
much.
sounds great.
Thank you.
Thank you, Rita.
Mhm.
I just got a mattress from Sleepy Hollow yesterday, I'm glad.
Oh.
After hearing that, they just delivered them.
Yeah.
I'm proud to support them, though.
Thank you so much.
Okay.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, no, go ahead.
Roger, go ahead.
Hey, Roger Peterson, Bloomfield Township. I don't know how many people come around and circle back and say thank you, but I wanted to circle back and say thank you. There's, some photos in there from my original ARPA application where we were looking for, sidewalks. So, you've got the first picture there, then you've got the second one that I just took this weekend.
Oh, wow,
So-
that's done already.
Yeah, and so then you see the third one is just another photo from the application, and then another photo from that I took this weekend. So as part of the application, we also did the town hall roof. We removed the 1893, slate. I had, and I'm not making this up, I had an elderly lady standing at the town hall and said, "You fools, you're ruining this building by taking that slate off. When's it gonna happen?" I said, "Look, it's already done." The roof was done that well that a lifelong resident couldn't even tell that it wasn't slate.
Great.
So it turned out fantastic, so, and, appreciate letting me jump in, because I take vacation time from work to come out. So I just wanted to say thank you. I don't know if anybody else circles back, but I wanted to.
No, they don't, and
I wanted you to
that's,
know that.
we certainly appreciate that.
Roger, I'll tell you what, from,
This is the first.
from your application that you submitted that was meticulous, to spending the money and then reporting back with the finished product. Bloomfield is lucky to have you.
Well, I appreciate that, and I appreciate.
You're a trustee up there, right?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, but Bloomfield is absolutely lucky to have you up there.
Trustee, chief cook, and bottle washer.
And the ball.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's.
Well, you had a good mentor too, though.
Yes.
We'll give the old man some
Yeah,
credit.
I give him a lot of credit, But anyway, I appreciate it, wanted to say thank you, and then hopefully someday I can do the same with an ambulance for you guys.
Yep.
Awesome, thank you,
All right.
Roger.
Fantastic.
Have a good one.
Appreciate it.
Great. This is awesome. This is fantastic.
Good to see the fruits of the labor.
Right, and it's funny, you see here too, and it's, you see the ball fields, and
Sure.
I don't know how anybody could have pushed a baby carriage around the old way on the gravel the way that it was. And I see here some bicycles, carriages and stuff, and you got the sidewalk. I mean, it looks good, it's aesthetically pleasing, just fantastic. If a little community like Bloomfield can do it, any of our townships can take note that it doesn't take much to beautify your community.
It's Martha Yoder, Trumbull County Auditor. I said chief cook and bottle washer, but he serves on their fire department, their EMS.
He's the best of the best, there's no
He's
doubt.
an LPN on top of all of that.
Wow.
He is just one of my favorites.
Yeah, he's the best of the best. Okay, anybody else have anything? Marilyn? All right. Good morning. Yeah, really.
Come and ask, you know?
Sure.
Marilyn Page with Trumbull County Children's Services, and this is Rebecca.
Hi, yes, I'm Rebecca Bailey with Belmont Pines Hospital.
Very nice.
So we're both here to ask whether, the commissioners would be so kind as to help us, fund a generator for our buildings. We both run residential buildings for children, and we have no generator, so it presents safety issues in regards to the locks on the doors, people coming into the building, as well as the fire alarm system. It creates concerns with lighting, heating, cooling, refrigeration. So that is why we are here, to see whether that is something you would entertain and what our next steps would be.
Yeah, this is something that just came to our attention. We were unaware that there were no generators in either of those buildings, so that's something that we wanna move on ASAP. I mean, obviously with all the individuals and children there, we wanna make sure that we're finding power if there is.
Bill, you did the site inspection, you were out there, and
Yes.
you recommend 2 generators, not 1,
Yes,
because what's the
2.
distance between the buildings?
Bill Hart, Trumbull County, 2 separate entities, 2 separate power sources coming to each building. So,
Okay.
you know, CSB has their own, which is a larger facility, and then Belmont Pines is not as big, so it requires such a big generator. Maybe the size, we're talking like the one for 911 at 35K, but the other one, we haven't gotten to see, because we had our, a Caterpillar here, who looked at that facility, but he didn't look at CSB. So, he'll be back in town here shortly, so we get some sort of an idea what cost could be for each.
You guesstimate any type of guesstimate?
I can't, I don't wanna project a number, because I don't wanna say it's either too high or too low.
Yeah.
So if, you know, we've been this far without one, and I'm sorry to hear that. So I was surprised myself when I went and talked to Marilyn. I'm like, all these years?
How many children do you guys house out there
24,
on the average?
you can, and 8, or 6.
Well, we have 6 at the, cottage facility that's on the campus there.
Can it cause facilities, separate entity? Okay.
Correct, yes. Belmont Pines leases the facility from the commissioners, and we operate a completely different program on the grounds of Trumbull County Children's Services.
Okay.
That was just as recently we did that.
Absolutely, yeah.
Exactly.
January,
So it's our property, but you're a tenant
correct.
of our property.
What do you think off the top of your head, something like that would run? I mean,
That's the same thing.
I don't know what generators go for anymore these days. I mean, the last one we
Well,
bought was
it's gonna
for the, where am I at now? 911 center, but it's been sitting for at least a year or so. You know,
Yeah.
we're on hold waiting now to see where 911's going. I'm not gonna install it at the old facility and pick it up, move it again. So the other one works. You know, there was a gear mark for that one to go to Board of Elections, so,
what was that one around? Do you remember?
I think that was maybe 45, 50, plus the transfer switch and then labor to install it, so.
Do we have, just thinking out loud, these ones we replaced, do we have the other ones still, or is that something they take back and destroy?
No.
Is that something could be refurbished for,
The one that is gonna come from 911 was earmarked for the Board of Elections. So if that one was getting replaced, that one's going over there, and the new one's going where the new facility would be for 911.
okay?
So it's gonna get utilized just at the,
At the, we've already got that,
Yes.
the home, okay?
yes. So, not knowing, of course, you know, all these years, but
Auditor Yoder, would we take that from sales tax or from?
I would need to talk to Christie,
Okay.
but, yeah, I think we could probably, depending on the cost, and we need to look at, I mean, again, he's not giving us an
Yeah,
idea.
yeah.
We need
I
to kind of look
can't
at
give you a
cost
Sure.
before we figure out where it comes from, because, you know, that may end up being a capital or something like that.
Okay.
But we can talk about it, what's the cost.
Okay,
So that's really when you ask for first steps or next steps, that,
yes,
that's the,
but once I get a cost associated with it, if they're a state purchasing contractor, which I do believe Ohio Cat is, we don't have to exercise any bids, but I can exercise other companies to come in and give us quotes for generator sizes / installation / so, you know, you have adequate bid numbers, so.
We do have some specs for the building.
And that will help when that time comes, sure. All we need to know is what's coming in, so it goes back through, back out, and back in again, so. We're gonna bypass the meter when it happens and go right back.
we appreciate you letting us know, and we'll get on it.
Thank you, I appreciate
Yes, thank you so much.
Oh, that's good.
it. All right.
Thank you both. Thank you all. Brought the whole team.
Yeah, I can have those copies.
Yes.
Have a great day, ladies.
Don't share somebody's phone.
I know.
thank you.
Bye.
You got the floor, Nick.
Oh, yeah.
Did everyone else
Well,
sign in?
we can do your
Did all of
agenda
you
items
sign
first,
in?
and that,
Okay.
if you got.
Thank you, thanks.
Okay, you know what numbers there?
Yes.
All right, we're gonna skip ahead for Nick, 'cause he's got another meeting after.
Okay.
So we'll, get to his agenda items.
What number are those, Nick?
Let's see, we are agenda items 16, 17, 18, 19, and 20.
All right, let's start with 16. Authorized advertisement by the Trumbull County Planning Commission of a public notice in the newspaper of general circulation on Saturday, June 8th, announcing the CDBG RPIG second public hearing for the Meadowbrook Sanitary Sewer Project locating in low and moderate income consent decree area of Warren Township, and authorize the Planning Commission to prepare and submit the application in the amount of $750,000, and authorize me to sign it and execute any documents related to the application, receipt, execution, and implementation of funds.
Nick Coggins, Planning Commission, so this is, a residential public infrastructure grant, through the state of Ohio. This is gonna be in partnership with the Trumbull County Sanitary Engineer. This is for sewer lines to go in, sanitary sewer lines in the Meadowbrook area, which is one of our outstanding consent decree areas that, the lots are too small to have septic. It's also an area where they're currently moving into disposing into the river. So this is, funds that would help take care of that issue, as part of the, Ohio EPA Water Pollution Control Loan Fund.
Is this still part of phase one?
Yes, this is still phase one. Still phase one. But this is just giving us authorization to prepare and submit the grant for the residential public infrastructure, matches with a bunch of the other funds that Gary at the Sanitary Engineers was able to acquire, and again, makes that project a lot more affordable.
All right, 17, authorize change order 2 for a 30-day no-cost time extension for the contract with MJD Excavating for Heat and Shoot Sanitary Household Connections Project. An additional 30 days, extending completion date from June 6th to July 6th, necessary for the completion of restoration activities due to inclement weather, and allow for additional qualified households to be connected to the sewer.
Okay, so, 17, 18, 19, and 20, these are all gonna be the same thing. 17 is for MJD Excavating. It's one of our contractors that, were approved through the original grant to connect households. So was Express Underground, Pollard Land Services, and TK Excavating. So we're doing a 30-day no-cost extension because they have to, now that they connected the houses to the sanitary sewer, they have to restore the front yard to make it look nice. And it's been raining for the last 2 weeks, so the yards still don't look nice. We're giving them a 30-day time extension in order to update those, or to complete that work in their contract.
Yeah, no problem with that.
18 and 19 as well with those two companies?
Yes.
Or those
18, 19,
separate
and 20,
companies?
those are all,
Okay,
all the exact same for the exact same reason.
okay.
They have to restore the front yards since they dug it up and put a sanitary line connection, and they need to plant grass seed and make it look nice again. And then, this was the item that's not on the agenda I did want to discuss. This is the email that Julie had sent to, the group as an update for our, Bill?
I try to have a little bit, I'll give it.
An update to the planning commission roof project. Obviously, our roof, after we had our major leak, has been, went through, roof replacement through Boak and Sons. So, we had an update, so everything is at the point where it's at a punch list items. The roof looks good, it's not leaking, it's in good shape, the insulation has been updated. They have a few items to finish, but while they were working, there was, work identified, that would cause concern, mainly the mortar on the side of the building facing Pine and facing Market Street. I think it was in the second paragraph there. According to Mr. Slawinski, that the mortar allows water to seep into the anchor joints, that's holding the masonry to the building and eventually will cause it to fail and potentially fall into the ground, creating health and safety hazards for persons walking on East Market and Pine Avenue. That being said, Director Green has volunteered to take the lead on any masonry restoration that's needed to be done to make that a health and safety. There was other items in that building that have been identified in other phases previously. Part of it is installing push bars to make ingress and egress for fire safety. The bank that used to be located on the first floor of our building, they had a lock on the outside of the door. It's currently locked. There's no push bar there. It's basically just been locked and closed since they left the building. And according to the fire inspection,
There's a crash barn on the outside of that door now.
there.
Jensen's put it on
When did they do that?
a while ago.
Huh. Well,
We haven't used that stairway in a
we
while.
haven't used, well, we still have it blocked off because
No.
people get locked on there.
No, it's been done.
So, okay. They identified that as an ingress, egress, issue.
Which number is that again?
That was number one.
Okay, all right.
Number one.
So
on these.
we've taken care of that.
Yes.
Yes. There is, part of our architectural barrier study that was done, I wanna say in 2018. Just like the doors outside of this building, they have push buttons to allow the door to open for architectural, to be ADA compliant. Those were items that were identified that could possibly be done. That's item number 2. Hopping to item number 4, there's an attachment on this as well. We know one of the impetus to getting our roof replaced was we had a major flooding incident, and an insurance claim is gonna help repair portions of the ceiling and carpet, due to that flooding incident. There's also other areas of the ceiling, other areas of the carpet that have damage from small minor leaks that were not part of this incident, that are not gonna be part of that claim. We wanted to go through and get those updated as well. Those places of the ceiling, we were able to go through and basically look at and see where all the damage was throughout our office, and that is that item on the back of your little packet I gave you. And some of it is just drop ceiling tiles. We have a number of them. Those could be, I won't speak for you, but I believe fairly easily installed by our maintenance department.
So do we have any of those in storage, or?
That tile, yeah, I just bought a brand new box for the ones that were damaged and or missing that had leaked on before, so
Yeah.
yes, I have those.
Perfect.
It is identified in number 4 that, Lynn Wallace-Smith, who is with our archives department, also had some issues from water damage that were not looked at or identified when we had that major leaking, and she sent over pictures for us, that I brought on her behalf. I believe, Recorder Littell is on his way here to discuss some of these items.
Copies
Yes,
for the,
I have a
the other
packet for you and Commissioner Frenchco.
Okay, perfect, thank you.
Yes. I made enough copies for,
So now that the roof is being
now that the
replaced,
roof's replaced.
our
we
maintenance
can
guys can take care of all this, right, Bill?
Most of it,
well,
yeah.
some, yeah,
Drywall, new,
there is some that does need to go, that would need
We
to
don't
go
know
out
if
to bid for proposals.
I'd have to get this tested
Yeah,
because
and like I said, Director Green has volunteered for our office to take the lead on any RFP, procurement qualifications, prevailing wage, in order to make sure that we're in compliance, but to help keep that, process moving forward. Item 5 was replacing the carpet. Like I said, part of that major flooding issue is getting covered by insurance. We would like to replace the rest of it, especially since if you go in our conference room, there's seams that we're holding together with duct tape, that we bought duct tape the same color as the carpet so that we can patch those seams together. I think that carpet was installed whenever the bank remodeled those offices, and it's probably older than I am. So it's past due. There is an ongoing issue with our elevator. I know we have, there's been several complaints or requests put in. We've had the elevator company come out. They installed new sensors, and since those sensors have happened, we've had the elevator close on people again. And it's an older elevator. It closes pretty quick and it's heavy. I mean, it's happened to me, but it's a safety issue for people getting on and off that elevator. It's could be potentially harmful to somebody. So Julie wanted, or Director Green wanted to look into seeing what we could possibly do to either replace, update, upgrade, whatever is needed to make that elevator a lot more safe. And I don't know if up to code is the right word, because from what I understand, because it's the date that it was installed, it follows the code that was then. So a more modernized safety elevator is something that we would like to look at. Number 8 was also a fire safety issue when the Warren Fire Chief came through. We have a stairwell that goes over to Child Support Enforcement Agency, or it used to. When we got the building, there was a wall put up there. The door was removed and there was a wall put up there. That happens to be in that area. Our office sits over the bank drive-through, the old drive-through. So the 2 offices and conference room in that area have no potential ingress, egress if anything happens right at the access point to that. There's only one doorway in and out of that area. So if anything blocks that doorway, they have no ingress, egress for safety issues. That was a concern that was raised by the fire chief, and that's one of the items that we wanted to address as well. Again, I don't want to speak for Bill. I don't know how much of this is something that the maintenance staff is going to be taking care of or can take care of, and how much of it is going to need to go out to bid. But again, Director Green has offered to do all the RFP, prevailing wage, and procurement guidelines so that we can get that moving. But at this time, those are the items listed out, and more or less, we need to ask for whether we can fund it, or how we can move forward with those projects.
and you had 6 and 7 on here, you skipped over.
Did I skip 6 and 7? I'm sorry. What was 6? Item number 6. Oh, we do not have, this is for our break room in the office. We do not have any type of, sinks outside of the bathroom. So if you bring in any type of facilities, you know, most of the offices in this building have kitchenettes. They have an area. We don't, we have to take anything that we bring into a bathroom sink and try to wash it underneath the bathroom sink.
You consider that little counter in the conference room, that's your break room?
That is not a break room. We actually have a break room in the back,
Okay.
that is also serves as our server room. It has basically a table, a folding table that we put a microwave, coffee pot, and a fridge back there.
Okay.
That's, and then, item number 7 was to replace the refrigerator in the back room, because it's almost 30 years old, and it basically is falling apart. It's something it's worse than the garage fridge.
Well, being that a majority of our economic development in this county is based out of this office, I wouldn't bring any potential suitor that wants to come to Trumbull County and show them your office, that's for damn sure. So
Yeah.
this is, I mean, carpeting, everything that's on here, I agree with, and needs done, and moving forward towards it, a lot of the stuff I think maintenance can handle, we're just getting them on the list to do it. A lot of it's cosmetic, but as far as like the carpet, the elevator, those are,
accessibility,
ADA stuff, those are things that, you know, Julie loves that building, you guys are gonna be in that building apparently for a long time, and there's no desire to leave that building, so we got the new roof, we need to take care of the rest of it. And it's gotta be, just like we did with Board of Elections and the other ones, one by one, we'll get all these buildings up to par.
Yeah, make them look nice. And we do share that building with archives. Again, that's under the recorder's office. They're downstairs. I think a lot of our issues will be taken care of with their issues as far as the ADA accessible doors, the elevator repair, the replacements.
Yeah, and that stairway to nowhere, you shouldn't go up the steps and then down the steps into a wall. I mean, that just makes no sense.
There's just a wall. It's
That's
yeah.
stupid.
Well, I don't know, back in the days, John, I don't know if you remember when they did all that, but nobody seems to know when they put that wall up there, why they put that wall up there.
That was there when I got hired at the county.
I was here when they were constructing it, but even the
Yeah.
question then was, who said to make the wall there? Nobody seemed to know, and the wall stayed.
I don't know, but when the fire chief came and inspected, he identified that as a safety issue, especially for that conference room and offices. If there was any security concern of anybody coming from our office to Child Support Enforcement Agency or vice versa, there could be safety bars or breaker bars, other ways to address it other than just blocking it off. But I don't know if that was even a concern to begin with.
John Gargano, JFS. When we moved into that building, Commissioner, part of the concern was the security, because people going in and out of that. Number 2, the CSEA, they have confidential information there dealing with FTI, the federal tax information and things like that, and there was a concern about that. So at that time, in order to, I'll say, separate and avoid any potential issues, they put up that wall, because it used to have a door.
Yes.
But then all of a sudden, the wall was constructed. I mean, we didn't tell them to construct it, but we indicated some of the concerns that we had, because we have to watch with the confidential information and stuff like that. So that's part of the reason why it was put in at that time.
I mean, I don't know if you can yank the stairs out of there and just make it level and make that a functional space rather than just steps going up and down and nothing?
I don't think that addresses the fire chief's safety concern. That's over the drive-through, and they only have one door to any stairwell or exit to that building. So because it's, there's no ingress or egress other than that door. If anything happens to that door, it's a safety concern. So they wanted to have that door replaced to the other. Now you have 2 points of ingress, egress. So if anything happens on this side, they can still go that way to get to safety.
And like maybe a push bar with an alarm or something like that?
Yeah.
For emergency use or something?
Or if, I don't know how, a push bar to address safety concerns. I don't know whether it be coming from CSEA to our office or vice versa, but yeah, something to basically allow people to exit more than one place. Thank you very much.
Okay, all right.
Sorry.
Nick, any
Thank you.
word on the Hydrilla
Yes.
signatures that we need to get this process moving?
Yes, been working with Beth Carmichael, and she's been on they have, bi-weekly phone calls with all the partners available. But as far as our end, where we are currently at is, after speaking with Mr. Danzo and the prosecutor's office, there was some signatures or letters we would like to have to indemnify us from, taking on any responsibility while still being able to provide financial assistance. So we've received that from ODNR, who is, and we've also gotten something from the city of Warren, indemnifying the county that this is ODNR and, United States Army Corps of Engineers. From my understanding, the Army Corps of Engineers has approved signing the letter. We're actually just waiting for them to actually, the appropriate contact to sign the letter and send it to us for our records. We've drafted up a memorandum of understanding that's currently under review. As soon as that is approved to legal standards, we'll be executing it with, Aquedoc, the contractor that's been approved by ODNR and the United States Army Corps of Engineers. So it's, from my understanding, and you've already, I believe you've already approved us entering into that MOU on your original. So once that's approved, we can get it signed, and I believe, once it is signed, we'll be, well, we won't sign it until we get the final letters, but once it's signed, we should be able to start making payments. I believe that they are trying to coordinate another payment for the first round of, treatment this summer, which is supposed to be happening, in June, I believe. If I'm recalling from my emails, the first treatment should be happening soon, and so, looking to find a different source of funding for the first treatment in June, and, as soon as our funds are available, we'll be able to make payment for the second treatment.
Bill Danso from the prosecutor's office. I just wanted to point out that memorandum of understanding is basically completed. We're just putting some finishing touches on it today, actually, to make sure that's all ready to go as soon as we get that letter from the Army Corps. The one thing, though, I do want to say, and I know that you guys are very proactive with the Hydrilla and everything, but even the letter we got from the ODNR so far, just to, so everybody has the same understanding, that letter even clarifies, this isn't the county's program that we're doing for mitigation. This is a state and federal program because it's their lake that they control. Even when it comes to the treatment, there is absolutely nothing that you guys are doing to stop the treatment that they could be doing and probably should be doing on their own. Now, you guys are contributing that, they are very appreciative of that, I understand, but even their own letter says, hey, keep in mind, guys, essentially, you have no control over what happens in this lake. Thanks for the money, but we control the process. So I just want to make sure that, you know, that there's an understanding that if we're saying, hey, get this money done or else that can't happen, that's not really true. We're not driving this train. We're contributing. They're very thankful. That's a great thing for the county. But ODNR and the Army Corps essentially are the ones that are in absolute control of this mitigation program. So I just want to make sure that people, especially listening in, even understand that, you know, we're waiting for that final approval from the Army Corps, but it's not, you know, the county should not be viewed as a holdup here. In fact, the sample MOU that Beth and Nick were kind enough to help kind of prepare and get going sort of even says that our function as the county is after an invoice is approved by the ODNR, then we will reimburse Aquedoc for that money. So I just wanted to make sure everybody sort of understands what our role is here, and that it's not, you know, there is no hang up, and it's not like they can't act without this, you know, they can certainly move forward, and then as soon as that letter comes in, that funding comes in, we'll be ready to go.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Bill. Nick,
Thank
thank
you.
you. Todd? Step up.
Again, I think Nick may have covered it. I just wanted to advocate for the record center.
Todd Littell.
Todd Littell, Trumbull County Recorder. You know, we have the record center over there. That's where we keep the majority of our county records. Other than cosmetics, just wanna make sure with the roof and I don't know, Nick, if you've shared some of the pictures or some of the things we had there, but to make sure that it's structurally sound, that it's not a safety or environmental hazard as far as the mold and structure is concerned over there. Again, these are records. If there's water getting in, that's not good for paper records. It's not good for microfilm, it's not good for anything. So I believe Nick addressed it. Again, just wanna advocate for them. Those are where the majority of our records go. We're working on digitizing all these records. Some of these records are to be kept permanently though. We can't, even if we digitize them, which we're working on, we still have to keep those records and keep it in an environment that is, as safe and, as friendly as it can be for those records, so.
Do you have some type of a airflow system or desiccant system or something that removes moisture out of the air to make sure that stays climate controlled?
We have some, I think, Bill, we have some dehumidifiers over there, so we're trying to do what we can over there. I mean, Bill, you could probably speak to this more than I can,
We
but.
still have, well, the AC in itself takes out moisture. Air conditioning does its moisture purposes, but we do have anything that has mold growing, we have UV lighting, we have all that stuff that we installed at all the units for COVID. So we also have that as well in the system. So everything that goes through gets cleaned. So it doesn't spread mold spores as
You don't have any spots in the basement there that have dampness or moisture on the floor or problem areas?
I believe that we do. I can confer with Lynn, but I believe that we do.
Yes, you do.
Yeah.
You have a spot out front, but then again, their offices out front go to the street, so their offices are under the sidewalk in that area. That whole downtown area is under the sidewalk. So yes, they have front offices that have a wet spot in the one corner that they addressed to me maybe a year ago, but I don't know how to correct something that's under the sidewalk at the street.
Right.
I don't know what to do with that. And you can't jackhammer the sidewalk, because then you're in the ceiling of the offices. So that's where they ran into the issue over Job and Family when they did the handicap. They poked a hole in the office downstairs, because they're under the sidewalk.
Again, with them working on the building, if they're looking at everything, we just wanna make sure that it's safe for the people working in there as far as the mold is concerned and breathing that in. And then structurally, because there were things said about, you know, the wall potentially coming in, or I'm not sure, Nick, what you mentioned on the pulling out.
Yeah.
But even upstairs, we're underneath that. So, I guess I'm just advocating to say, hey, I'm hoping that we take a look at that building environmentally, structurally, so that it's sound. If we can get to the cosmetic stuff, great, but I wanna make sure it's safe for the people and safe for our records.
Yeah. Thank you. Okay, number 1 is the minutes, number 2 is approve the bill, number 3 is transfer monies.
All right, so Martha Yoder, Trumbull County Auditor. So on the transfer of monies, the first one is the auditor's office. This is just transferring the second quarter casino. The second one is, first quarter interest that's being transferred. I'll move down to number 4, additional appropriations. NeoCap is an addendum to fiscal year 24-25 subsidy grant. And the Planning Commission is the HSTS program. These will be, I think, at our next budget commission. The revenue side will be handled at our next budget commission meeting, which is next week. The transfer of appropriations, let me get that on here. Transfer of appropriations, adult probation is 2 new the 31,938, or again, 31,938.58, 2 new accounts, an additional amount needed for payroll. Central Court 2,500 is training for employees. 600 for the commissioners is your water filtration equipment. That's replacing your water cooler. You're gonna be using the filtration instead. The domestic relations is, additional equipment, kitchen equipment needed. JFS is 25,000, state Wi-Fi access. Again, JFS 5,000 is rebranding to cover required changes, and, you may be able to explain the rebranding part.
Okay, John Gargano, JFS. The rebranding part is because of the state, that we are obviously under, there are certain things that they're changing in their logos, and also with stationery and things like that. So, we have to, although they're giving us some funds for that, we do also have some changes that we have to, absorb some of the costs. Like you're gonna see on the outside, there's gonna be changes on the logo outside and stuff like that. So that's where that's going. Also, if I may,
Sure, go ahead.
the state Wi-Fi, and I have that on here, for the agenda, we need that because, there's, connectivity problems with the state, server. We're under the state and things like that, and sometimes they just, you get kicked off the internet, and, you know, it's difficult to, assist the people and those individuals coming into the OMJ that want to go onto the computer to do whatever they need to do for applications, job searching. All of a sudden, they're kicked off, and then they have to wait a certain period of time before they get back on. So that's where that is going, on that. And if I may, there's the JFS CSEA, the 22,000. That is going for two things. One is to cover the sheriff's contract of approximately $20,000. And then there's, the balance of that, which is going for background checks. JFS CSEA, we have to go through FBI background checks every 5 years. And, now we're, in that process of going through that FBI background check, for individuals that, the time frame is up. Not everybody's going through it, but like myself, I had to go through it and things like that.
John, while you have the floor real quick, what was the situation with the elevator over there?
At CSEA?
Yeah.
I wasn't aware of it. I guess last Thursday afternoon, for some reason, it shut down. We did, or not me, but they put a ticket in, for that, and I thought it was taken care of, but it wasn't. So yesterday, I got a hold of Bill, and I thanked him for it, because when he found out, he got people over there, and
Yeah,
now
I
it's
didn't
been
know either.
repaired. That, when you're talking, and, you know, I was listening to Nick with the elevator, that elevator is very old. The elevators at Job and Family Services, they gotta be, you know, 100 years old or whatever. And what they have been able to do maintenance with the elevator people is, I'll say manufacture parts and pieces in order to keep it running. But this has been a continuous problem with, CSEA and JFS, elevators. I mean, every once in a while, I'll hear the buzzer go off at JFS, there's somebody stuck in there, you know, so we have to, you know, try to get them out, or we have to call, you know, Bill and have his people take care of it or whatever. So that's what happened, but it's been taken care of. It's working appropriately this morning.
But it just needs to be on the radar for, I mean, it's 4 floors, predominantly women that work there, we're gonna
Right.
hear about it when they
And I
walk up
do
the
have
steps.
some that have some handicap disabilities, I'll call it. For them to go up and down the steps, it's difficult. I know I put somebody that had an issue, I put them on the, first floor. As you go in, I had an extra office, so instead of them trying to climb up to the 3rd, 4th floor, I had them in there. And some others, some of the employees were assisting some of the others to go up the steps, very slowly, but, you know, they helped them go up the steps.
Okay, and what about the, mysterious funky smell? We figured out the cause of the mysterious funky smell that comes back and forth every now and then?
It's always coming back and forth, and I know I've talked to Bill, he's even, a long time ago, did a air.
Oh, we did an air quality test many times over
Many
in his
times
building
there.
because they think they're being,
They don't know. At one time, they thought it was because there was a gas leak on the outside, outside of the bank, and they thought some of that was the issue coming in. But where it's coming from, what it is, nobody knows. It just comes and goes. Could be even, you know, the sanitary lines, you know, because underneath our building over there in the basement, there's the sanitary lines and stuff like that. One time, when we first got in there, there was a major, I don't wanna call it a major break, but there was a break that, you know, went into the basement. So,
All right. Well, that dispels the rumor there then, that the commissioners don't like fat people, so we shut the elevators down to make JFS lose weight. Before that rumor starts, that's, no rumor there. Okay, number 6,
We're still not done with.
Martha.
But I had a question on Martha Yoder, Trumbull County Auditor. So on the fingerprinting, the 5-year, that's not just BCI, it's FBI, is that why
Yes.
you can't do rat back for that?
Right.
Okay, got it.
It's mostly, for the FBI. We have to do
Right.
it every 5 years.
Right,
But they end up doing it together anyhow at that
yeah,
time.
and, well, because in DD, we only had to do FBI if somebody lived out of state, for a certain amount of time, and we had to do that initially. And then as long as they lived in state, we just had to do BCI every
No.
5 years, and then they put us in rat back, so we didn't have to do that.
No,
It was a continuous.
it's a federal
monitoring,
regulation that we have to.
I figured you guys were just a little stricter than us. So Sheriff's Office, additional training expense for the 5,000. Number 6, the amended certificate from the County Budget Commission, for our, meeting from May 28th. Commissioners is, amount is 30,000, hold on, let me find it. And that's the Leavittsburg Dam, study, that was all we were doing is the, certificate of resources for that. Maintenance is, insurance reimbursement, and transit is the WRTA grant. And just as a information on the Leavittsburg, dam study, that was, approved by the Commissioners 5/1/24. The insurance reimbursement, the expense side was approved by the Commissioners May 22nd, 2024. And then the transit, was originally approved on 1/31/24. The expense side approved by the Commissioners May 30th, 2024.
Okay, number 7, thank you, Martha. To approve the agreement prepared by the Ohio Rail Development Commission between State of Ohio, Ohio Rail Development Commission, and Trumbull County, and authorize me to execute said agreement and any future associated documents. Trumbull County, Braceville Township, and awarded grant amount up to $100,375 by the Ohio Rail Development Commission for the elimination and restoration of 3 at-grade railroad crossings located on Benedict Leavittsburg Road, Anderson Bailey Road, and Deal South Road. Per Trumbull County Prosecutors, the agreement was approved by Prosecutor's Office and recommended by Gary Schaefer. Okay,
Anybody from highway engineer on the line that wants to speak to that? Star 6 to unmute yourself. Giving them the opportunity, I don't know.
well, I guess it's a good thing if if the railways are dead and, they're just a traffic impediment.
Yeah, Bill Danso from the prosecutor's office, just not to step on their toes, but because we did look at these, that's essentially what it is my understanding is these are abandoned rail lines that, essentially this just makes the road a little bit safer. There's not the grade at the railroad crossing anymore. There's not a pooling of any water, ice, anything like that. And it makes the maintenance of the road easier. Most of these also do have an agreement with the State Railroad Commission that if they ever go back into service, they'd be restored. But, essentially, from what I've been told, it's very unlikely for these particular lines.
Okay.
Thank you, Bill.
Thank you, Bill.
Number 8, concur with Trumbull County Engineer to close the following roadway. Rice Road in Bloomfield Township, between Bloomfield and Orwell Township for culvert replacement, June 8th to June 28th. Concur with Trumbull County Engineer to grant special fleet permit for SCD management. Engineer for right-of-way permit, custom Utilicone. Number 11, amended agenda item number 19, JV 157, page 26539, as approved by the Board of Commissioners on May 30th, to approve an agreement by and between Board of Trumbull County Commissioners and Braceville Township, necessary for emergency repairs to Benedict Leavittsburg Road in Braceville Township, where actual physical disaster has occurred to the road due to slippage. in the approximate amount of $285,000. The amendment is necessary to correct the original amount we approved last week of $245,000. And this is per the engineer. This is what came in at the very end of last meeting. We missed it after we, adjourned, and then we moved it over to this week. And this is a overage additional $40,000 just in case.
Yeah, and I'm sorry to be taking up so much time talking today, but Bill Danto from the prosecutor's office. Yes, there was just a mistake in the way that this was looked at last week. The 285 was the engineer's estimate of the cost of the project, but Jet had quoted, 245,000. So that is correct. There was a miscommunication about which number was which. You know, we hope that obviously that Jet will be able to do it for the 245 they quoted, but it does provide a little bit of wiggle room. As you know, in some of these projects, when you start digging, you find things that you didn't expect. So there is a little bit of a contingency there, but hopefully we won't need it.
Okay. Number 12, amend agenda item number 20, JB 157-26539 is approved by the Board of Commissioners. This the same thing, Lisa?
Yeah, they were two different agenda items though, last week, but it is to change the, contract amount, correct it.
Okay, so the first one's to approve the agreement, second one is to award the contract to Jet.
Yeah.
Gotcha. And we didn't have to put it out for bid because it was an emergency, they just picked Jet, is that what I understand?
Yes.
Yeah, that's correct. Because there was an emergency, and you guys declared the emergency, and it was an actual disaster to the structure of the road, that permits the, exception to competitive bidding in this case. And the engineer...
So, just in all fairness then, how do we, without having a second opinion or anything like that, how do we know that the engineer's estimate is correct in this? I mean, apparently they put in 245, the engineer said it's 285. How do we know it's not 175 and one bid high and the other bid high and?
That's a good question. That's the way the process can work though. And usually it only really works this way when there is an actual disaster to the road and an emergency repair that's necessary. And then at that point, I think the answer is we rely on our engineer, obviously, who did the estimate. And, you know, as a county official, I know he always does his best to obviously make that call correctly and professionally for the county. So, you know, that's kind of the check valve on these emergency repairs, because as I understand, he agreed with them that this road it's impassable at this point, that it is kind of sliding into the river, so, it necessitates a quick repair.
Okay. All right, number 13, approve the promotion of Ms. Shannon Doherty as a program coordinator with Trumbull County Department of Job and Family Services, effective June 10. Ms. Doherty will be paid $36.67 an hour with full county benefits, required to serve a 9-month probationary period.
John Gargano, JFS. Yes, Commissioner. If you recall, about 2 months ago, I said there was gonna be retirement and movement within the agency. This is still part of that. The coordinator that was there, has been appointed, the administrator, which was done by the commissioners a few weeks ago. And that position became open. There were, I think, approximately 5 individuals that applied for it. They were tested. They were interviewed by the new administrator and the HR. And Mrs. Doherty is the one that was selected from that, and asking that the commissioners approve that. Ms. Doherty's been there, I think, between 20 and 25 years. So if she is approved, then her position as a supervisor will be open, and that will end up having to be posted and going through the same thing, and we'll be back here probably about a month or two for that position.
Okay, which program is she gonna coordinate?
She's under the, public assistance. The administrator is there, then there's a coordinator under her. They, I'll say, divvy up the responsibilities of who's gonna be taking care of what in those departments. So that's what she's gonna do. She's in that as a supervisor, she just would be moving up now as coordinator.
Okay. And you said 5 people applied?
Yeah, there was, 5 people that applied, they were tested, there was a written test, and then they were, interviewed by the new, administrator and the HR that I have there.
Point 14, approve the agreements between Trumbull County Department of Job and Family Services and the contracts per submitted list dated May 30. Agreements create 14 training opportunities, total cost of $219,230.50, fully funded through WIOA allocations.
Yes, this is, something that we do, periodically, and we come here. It's training opportunities for those individuals that have come and meet certain requirements. And so there's a list that I was provided to you as to what those training opportunities are, dealing with anything from the, trying to find it here. From Chaufin Career Center, Eastern Gateway College, Pittsburgh Institute of Aeronautics, and so forth, and Ross Educational, giving these people an opportunity to go there and receive some training or skills in order, hopefully, that they would be able to retain a new job.
15, approve the purchase of service contract by and between Trumbull County Department of Job and Family Services and Wireless as a Service for Trumbull County Department of Job and Family Services and the Child Support Enforcement Division. One-time installation charge of $12,472.50 with an annual cost of $16,128 for the term beginning from the date of installation and the 60-month contract. Explain what this is, John.
I spoke to it just briefly when we were discussing the appropriation transfers. This is putting in the Wi-Fi and JFS and CSEA because of the problems they were having with connecting to the state server. My workers, as well as those coming in to use the computers downstairs, they would disconnect out of no reason at all and shutting them down, and it was difficult for us as an agency to provide the services to those individuals. So we're doing this. Children's Services also has the same service. They would put in certain, I'll call them hotspots, areas. I'm not a computer whiz, but throughout both buildings, and so we would hopefully be able to avoid that, and there would be no disruption of service when they're dealing on the state server. This is a state purchasing, although I did not have to. I did talk to Bill Danzo, the prosecutor. I forwarded the information to him, and I did not go out to bid because it is state purchasing, and Bill also approved that. Correct.
You with that, Commissioner?
Mm-hmm, yes. But how does that impact, if you're kicked off the state server, or the state server, I guess, and you're on the Wi-Fi, that...
This is supposedly to help, to avoid that possible disruption. I'm not a computer person, per se.
I just know you're dealing with a lot of sensitive information. And if
Yeah,
that's
I mean,
not
the sensitive,
protected,
it's there. I mean, we have a private, connection, I'll call it. So that's what it is, private connection for the workers there, but downstairs, it's a public connection for them, the individuals that come in.
So everything's protected?
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
Yeah. Number 16, 17, 18, 19, and 20 were already covered with Mr. Coggins. So we'll go to 21. Approve a school resource officer agreement between Trumbull County Commissioners, Sheriff Paul Monroe, and JFK High School for the fiscal year 24-25. It'll start July 1st. And the John F. Kennedy Catholic School agrees to pay Trumbull County Sheriff's Office $63,578, due and payable at the end of the term of contract. The sheriff will furnish one deputy. Why payable at the end of contract?
How we always done it, yeah, and we add that in there, but, Major Tony Villanueva, Trumbull County Sheriff's Office. JFK will then write us a MOU, or not a MOU, but just a letter saying, invoice us monthly, and we do. They invoice monthly on that.
Okay.
Some of the other ones will just pay quarterly, the other ones like to pay at the end of the school year.
Okay.
So,
That accounts for all the soft costs too, that are wrapped into that, as far as like gas and all that, or?
no, and typically, those vehicles are just parked there in the school, they don't move. So we don't incorporate any type of, wear and tear on or gas in these contracts. It doesn't include all the benefits.
Because it would be de minimis if you did, I mean, it would be wouldn't even, yeah.
And, it's only 70% of what, what a deputy would cost the county to employ.
Okay. Yeah. And then we had another one, number 22, between Newton Falls Local School District and the Sheriff's Department. This is an amount again, $63,578.58.
Correct.
One deputy to Newton Falls Local School District.
Yes. And the same thing.
Same thing with Champion High School. One deputy, Champion, $63,578. Take a note, how do you find the deputies for like the schools? Is that something that's bid on by the deputies, to come off the road to go be a school resource? Are they hired just for that purpose, or just randomly assigned that way?
If we're lucky, we will find somebody that is, nearing retirement or is retiring, and they would, hire it in and want to be in that type of position. Every once in a while, we do have deputies that, okay, I've done this for a couple of years now, I wanna go back to the road, or midnight turn, afternoon turn, whatever they wanna do, so, and they have the seniority to bid, a shift that they want, so we push it out, to anyone who is bid, email back, and we'll just interviews. The school also, has a say in who, we also have at their school.
Because there's one thing I'm looking at here too, is, we're charging $63,578, but I'm sure there's a difference whether we have a new deputy there, a lieutenant, a captain, a sergeant, somebody at the end that's making a lot more than the new deputy.
We do not have any sergeants or above at a school, that would be a deputy only. Somebody who's coming in with no experience would not be put into an SRO. It takes years to build up experience to be able to do that.
Okay. But you're not having a problem finding people as of yet to do that?
It can be challenging at times, to where, if there's a vacancy and we have to fill that vacancy, and sometimes, we're talking to some of the, veteran, deputies and, approaching them instead of them coming to us and saying, hey, I wanna do this, we'll approach them and say, we think you'd be a good fit for this.
And they work at the leisure of the school's schedule. So if they get a half day, they work a half day that day. If they got a day off for the in-service teacher day, the deputy's off that day, and he's there during the school hours?
They are there during school hours, and if they're not there, they're filling in, working road patrol, or working in a building, courthouse,
So if they don't have their 40 in, they'll be supplemented somewhere else?
They're always working.
Okay.
That's good.
In the summer, a lot of times they fill in on vacation here,
Yes.
so for our deputies here.
And
Good.
it allows us, having the SROs allows us to get our younger guys in the training program, where some of the younger guys are working in building, court security, getting them onto the road, getting trained in those positions, and the SROs then fill in those spots, building and court security, things like that. So you'll see a lot of our younger deputies go into the training program in the summer because we have the extra manpower to do so.
Okay. And I noticed we got 2 new deputies downstairs, and I say, what's up, guys? And they said, oh, we just had shift bids. So they picked pick and choose which building they wanna go to or where?
Twice a year, deputies will, do the shift bid, so, luck of the draw. Or if they have the seniority, they can pick and choose which building they wanna go to or what shift they can work. Or if they wanna work the road or in the building, some of the guys you see, some of the younger ones that get what's left over.
Okay. And road duty, is that totally based on seniority, or is that something based on
Seniority.
qualifications too, or no?
As of right now, we do have some exempt positions where we can, assign, people to, one per shift, daytime and afternoon. With the new contract, those exemptions probably go away, depending if they get, the contract goes through or not, so,
Okay.
yeah.
So a deputy gets hired here can truly, if they wanna be a deputy and work the road, they can get there with time
Yes.
based on time and. Okay, and then last question I had, just downstairs, the last deputies we had, the last shift. I was down there the one day just observing, talking to the deputies. I noticed when people were coming in, of course, they had to get rid of their pocket knives, ladies with scissors in their purse that sewed. Some construction guys came in, had their Leatherman tools, screwdrivers they had to take, and there was a metal box they went into, and they lost it. And I called the sheriff and said, what do we do with these knives? They go, we destroy them. At the end, I said, you get a little farmer walks in here, has had a knife in his pocket for 40 years, doesn't wanna walk 3 blocks, put his little pocket knife back in the car, and we're seizing it. He's not trying to come in here and cause any damage, he's forfeiting it at the front door, he knows he has it.
Yeah.
Or carpenters, construction guys, I saw a little old lady, like I said, had scissors, she said those are sewing scissors, and we had to take them from her, and she was upset. So I told the sheriff that, and he said, no problem, we'll work a system, they'll check it, and they'll get it on their way out. He said, we just don't wanna babysit stuff, as long as it doesn't become a problem. I noticed they still got the metal box there, and the deputies that are down there that we had recently, they've been giving the things back. You know, people have been handing them, they go in, get their title, come out, get their knife back and leave. And I said, if we need to come up with a ticket system, something like that, I wanna go to that route. I don't think we should be seizing tools off of people just because we have horrible parking here,
Yeah.
you know, that they gotta walk to. Can we work to instruct these new guys the same thing? I don't wanna go and tell your guys, hey, you can't do this, but, if Commissioner agrees with me, I think we need to not seize their stuff at the front door unless it's something that's seizable, unless it's, you know, contraband or something like that, but I don't want to
The issue.
taking little old ladies' sewing scissors off them anymore.
The issue we ran into is, anytime a deputy takes anything off of somebody and has to return it back, I mean, there has to be a chain of custody at that point. So the amnesty box was the best route to go, it's on a lock box. Give them the option of, hey, back to your car,
Yeah.
you're welcome to,
Right.
but, like you said, parking's horrible
Right.
sometimes, and we're walking too far, so there.
It's just not a good PR thing for the sheriff, it's not a good PR thing for us, it's not a
So-
customer-friendly thing.
That would be something that I had to talk to Danzo about, you know, as far as taking property off of somebody, holding it until they come back, you know, we're responsible for that property, until we give it back to them. So is it a chain of custody issue? Do we have to log it as evidence? These are all the questions that we had, when you brought it up the last time.
Right.
And so I think it'd just take a quick discussion over it, and then come up with a game plan, a best, course of action for it. And of course, if you guys put it in writing, we'll make it happen.
Commissioner, do you agree with me?
Oh, yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, it isn't like we got 60 people coming in at once with knives and we gotta figure out.
I was
what
under
to
the
do.
impression you guys were doing that anyway. I didn't know you were taking them and actually confiscating. I thought you held them there.
Put it in an
And believe me, every knife we take off an old farmer and every tool we take off a construction guy gives us bad PR, and all of a sudden they hate the sheriff, they hate the commissioners, they hate government, it's not friendly. It's just bad. I mean, people aren't intentionally trying to finagle knives into the building.
Right.
It's just, they come in to get a title, and a lot of these guys are working on their car, so they got tools on them, you know, they got tools in their pocket. I've seen guys with screwdrivers in their back pocket.
Yeah.
And then usually they go outside, they try to stuff it under the bushes or bury it, and then come right back in. We don't want them doing that either, 'cause you got people hanging outside, you know, that we really don't want, you know, someone to see somebody stuffing something under a bush or on a rock. So I just think it's good PR that if it's a mistake and they come in and put a basket even, they're at your own risk. If you take it to your car, or put it in the basket at your own risk and get it on your way out, but we can't let you in the building with it. But we're not gonna seize it from you and put it in a metal box and then destroy it, you know, at the end of the year. That's just not something I wanna stand for, I guess. So you got any legal ideas on that? Is it cool to let them just have a voluntary basket or something of that sort?
You know, I'm not really sure we've ever talked about that or addressed it, but I'm sure we can come up with something. I don't have any doubt that there's a system we could come up with to work through it.
Because these aren't criminals coming in our building, they're customers.
Sure.
And we need to keep the staff safe, but at the same time, you know, I don't think that's keeping anybody safe or other than just providing bad PR by doing that stuff.
It was just doing things by the book and making sure that if we're taking something, and we're holding it, technically it's evidence at that point. So that's where, you know, they came up with the amnesty boxes, and that's been happening since we started the security down there.
John Gargano?
John Gargano, JFS. Commissioners, I was just gonna say that if you're looking at that for this building, I think you may have to look at it for all the buildings, because we do have a significant amount of traffic that comes to our building. And even though I have a parking lot, there are many individuals that live in downtown area, they come walking and stuff like that. And they've had the same issue, okay, as, you know, they have a weapon, a knife or scissors or whatever, and if they're confiscated, then they're destroyed. But then these people that are walking down, they have no place to put it, they'll put it on the side of the building, or you'll find it under a car or whatever like that. So if it's something that you're doing, I think you need to look at some of the other buildings also.
I agree, and I think that is. Now, maybe a courthouse is different,
Yes,
you know, just assume, but if someone's coming to get a title, or someone's coming to pay their taxes, they're not gonna assume they're getting a body search and a frisk and their, you know, their case, grandpa's pocket knife they got for Christmas when they were 16,
Yeah.
that they've been carrying forever, and they got dropped off or they parked 3 blocks away. We don't wanna penalize that guy, and I watched an old guy put his knife in, and he swore up and down, and he said it was raining outside, and, you know, he needed to get his title, and he came in, and he was very, very upset, and that's what made me realize, I'm like, man, we shouldn't be doing this to people. This isn't good PR for anybody.
Talk with Danzo, and just to make sure that, what we come up with is good, I'll run it past you.
And I agree, now, if someone's coming in with a Bowie knife on their side or something, that's a little different maybe, machete,
Yeah.
you know, gun, of course, those, I see that, but utilitarian tool, little old lady sewing scissors, we gotta stop that. Okay? Get with Danzo, get with the sheriff, and when I talked to the sheriff, he was cool with it, and it stopped, you know, I noticed it, but now I see there's a new shift guys on, and they're probably, one of the guys I saw was from JFS, and he's probably used to doing it the way they do it there. So like I said, I didn't wanna tell him, hey guys, here's what we're doing until I talk to you, but that's the route that Commissioner Cantalasa and I would like to see that we
Sounds good.
be as customer friendly as we can with the experience they have when they come and visit our office. All right, 24, to approve an agreement by and between Board of Trumbull County Commissioners and Buckeye Energy Brokers, Inc. for opt-out electric aggregation service pursuant to Ohio Revised Code 492926. Agreement will be effective upon execution by both parties for power flow commencing March 2025 and shall remain in effect for 3 years until the end of master service agreement with a selected supplier, whatever comes first. Now, this doesn't start till March 2025.
Yeah,
Right, I talked to John Lutz at CCAO.
yeah.
They have a statewide aggregation program. He called me. He said, hey, you guys are the only county in Northeast Ohio that isn't signed up with CCAO for your energy rates. He said, why not? And I looked into it, and we deal with the gentleman that we deal with here,
Mhm.
that I believe is someone that Mr. Food introduced us to, years ago. Mr. Lutz asked if he can get a crack at least of seeing what we're doing, and then seeing, he believes the statewide aggregation program that all the other counties are signed up in, I think it was 58 counties or something like that were signed up with this aggregation program.
Okay.
He thinks they could save us money on utilities by signing up with CCAO, rather than Buckeye or anybody else. So when I saw this yesterday, I contacted him, and he said he'd like to see an agreement on what we have. He'll look at it now, he'll come up here if he needs to. to make sure that we're getting the best deal. And if CCAO's is better, he'd recommend that we sign up with CCAO instead of renewing a contract, with any other provider.
Yeah, it wouldn't hurt to shop around, though.
So,
So take this off.
I was gonna ask if we can remove this, we get the consensus with Commissioner Cannon Mesa.
Yes.
To not have to table it tomorrow, but remove it today, and then if we can get copies of what we have, we can forward it down to CCAO, let them look at it, and, get advice from them on whether they can save us money or not.
Sure.
He believes they can, and he did say Mahoning, Asheville, and Portage, Jogga were signed up with them,
Okay.
and, I don't want, I have no horse in the, dog in the show or
No.
anything like this, or dog in the race. This is just something that came from them, that they reached out to me a couple weeks ago and said, hey, we noticed you're not signed up, everyone else is, you know, where are you getting your power?
There's an opportunity for savings we gotta look at.
Okay. Okay, and then 25 is enter executive session, fact-finding report from the sheriff's department, the deputy's contract, and then reconvene, and then accept or reject the fact finder's report. That finishes out the agenda for tomorrow. I had, two things. First, Bill, bring up the family court tree, that limb been cut.
I
Does it
should be,
flag
I
up?
showed the gentleman the other day, so I don't know, I haven't checked on it yet.
Okay, if you can just check on that to see, I don't wanna see Judge Bluedorn till it's done, I'm hiding from him. Alright. And then I got an idea that was given to me by an employee, that I'll give full credit, an employee came to me and said, hey, you guys need employees at 911, you need employees at maintenance. Have we reached out to ETI, the college that's on 422 up there across from the old Enemies, the church up there? And I went to their website, and when I look at their website, it shows the type of training they do there. You know, it's a technical institute, and I know there are other ones in the area also, but they're basically, it's a career center to train people, give them the resources they need to get a job. And when you look on here, a lot of it is, computer information services, security awareness. There's a lot of things that tie into here, and I know there are some training ones too, when it comes to, field service technicians, HVAC, appliance repair, building maintenance. They have a program just for that, where they have certifications in building maintenance. But I'd like the permission from you, or at least the okay, or your thoughts, to reach out to ETI, and then let's research together to see what other institutes are there. And maybe we can incorporate something with them, where we can work with them, get job placement for the graduates, and let them, as part of their program, incorporate like a 911 TACES pre-screening thing to see if they're cut out for 911.
Yeah.
And maybe work a partnership that's gonna benefit them, it's gonna benefit us. Even in maintenance, if we get a guy certified maintenance first before he comes here, and he's got a certification, just like with automotive. I know there's a lot of car dealerships won't hire someone unless you got the automotive certification already.
Right.
If we can work with these agencies or these different groups, or at least, you know, find out which ones are out there. I mean, there used to be a bunch of different tech schools for adults, but this ETI is the one that was presented to me by an employee and said, hey, look at these guys, they get a facilities maintenance technician program, why aren't we trying to recruit from there? And, I think it's a good idea, and I think maybe it's something, if we build a partnership, public-private partnership, that they can be a pipeline. We don't have a dispatcher academy per se, but maybe they can adapt some of their programs towards that. We're looking for 10 employees, whatever it is. They gotta have some people in the pipeline that they would think they're trying to place people when they get out of there. It gives them credit,
Right.
you know, as an institution, as somebody that's worthy of spending your money to go there to get a job. But I don't know if we've ever done it in the past. If we haven't, I'd like to explore the possibility of that, because that could be a good training, not only that, but for a lot of county jobs to be filled, for people that for the jobs that don't require college degree or beyond.
Yep.
Martha, Yoder.
Just a little voice of support for ETI. I have one of my excellent employees is paralegal graduate from there. So just my experience, very good.
Any other schools like that around that I'm missing?
Newcastle.
I know Chopin had something in Mahoning County that, like, people went through with nursing, things like that. I know there was
Newcastle School of Trade.
Newcastle School of Trades.
Mhm.
Any others that anybody in the room knows of?
We used to have ITT, right?
Yeah, I don't know if there's there anymore.
That's not there anymore.
Okay. There was one that had Youngstown in the name too.
I could check, John Gargano, JFS, I could check with my OMJ side to see if there's any other, institutions like you're talking
Right.
about, see what they have, and I could give you a list.
But we should have that. We should have a placement program. And even for some of the advanced jobs, you know, something like a journal clerk, things like that, there are people that may have an associate's degree or bachelor's degree that would fit into a program that if we can work with our HR, and of course, we're gonna have to get with, you know, our HR department and see if there's a way we can tie that in with something where, you know, we are looking for employees right now in a lot of different areas.
Yep.
And they are training employees to get jobs. It just seems like a fit.
Yep. Absolutely.
Okay, I'll reach out to ETI this week, and, any other employee has an idea or whatever, or has a lead like that, please forward it up to the commissioners. Contact me or send me an email, or anyone listening that follows the meetings, if you have a program that you know of that way, that might fit, please reach out to me and let me know, and I wanna thank the employee that came to me with this idea, 'cause this, I think, has legs.
Could also work for corrections officers.
Good work for corrections officer too, I thought the same thing, if they have safety awareness and, you know, these are good paying jobs we offer, good careers, and.
Yeah.
Okay, anyone else have anything? Oh, there's HR right here.
Hi.
You're so quiet, I missed you.
Becky, HR, Alex is asking to be unmuted, if she could
Yes.
say something.
Yes, can we unmute, please?
Star six, right? Or no, you gotta do it.
She does it, and then Alex can start it. Whenever you're
Hello?
ready, Alex. Hello.
Hi, everybody. How's it going?
Good, how are you?
Hi, Alex.
Alex DiMagenzi Bush, Human Resources Department. Denny, those are all great ideas. The only thing I ask you is kindly, I hear you saying, you know, if anybody has ideas, bring it to the commissioners. If you could please kindly make sure that that actually gets addressed to HR, because that is something that we're already currently working on. And we do have Ohio Means Jobs who does, you know, John just presented a bunch of contracts today with the WIOA Act, where we do put people into programs to make sure that they can get education for future employment. So please work through HR for that. That's the only thing I ask, so that we can streamline the process and have one consistent goal here.
Have we worked with ETI yet?
I don't know. I do believe that, I mean, John's there. I have to go back to my JFS and OJ days. But yeah, I do believe that we do have contracts with ETI. We do have contracts with, right now, Youngstown State is asking about a handshake program. So sometimes it's not just as easy as reaching out to them. We actually have to follow their processes on how they want us to do it through a portal. So there are things that we need to consider from an HR perspective.
Perfect.
Okay, so that's, I totally appreciate it. And another thing too that I wanted to, you know, just caution the board about right now is, yes, we have open jobs, but also they are union jobs. Okay, so we have to also remember that if somebody bids on it first internally, they automatically are going to get that position. So just keep that in mind.
Right, well, I mean, but I'm thinking like 911 and like Major Villanueva said, you know, corrections officers, someone entry level. Those seem to be the areas we have the biggest turnover.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that. I'm just making sure, because you were talking about maintenance. And then also, I know Major Villanueva, I haven't worked with him, but I am working very heavily with the sheriff's department on helping them promote the CO job. So HR is already on top of it. They've reached out. They've had mall, you know, when people sit in the mall and people come up and can apply in person, we've set them up with an OMJ session where they went over to JFS. It's promoted on our HR website. So, and then we also have a bunch of different entities that we blast out emails to about jobs. So, and of course, Indeed. But so yeah, we're working on that. I'm just asking to make sure that it's streamlined through HR, because that really is an HR process and function.
Sure. Thank you.
No
See you back
problem.
soon.
I'll see you all next week.
Great.
Yay.
Okay, Bill.
Commissioner, Bill Hart, Trumbull County Maintenance. Bad news is that, I ran out of here earlier because the elevator went down in the admin. They're trying to restore it. It went on a motor drive like it did yesterday. Good news is we have a spare next door that we could steal the parts from if this is what it's gonna be. But the service tech, they got a call in for the service tech. These gentlemen here on the elevators are the installers. They're not the repair people. So, they're in the midst of communicating with the repair guy to see if they get this one up and running. That's down right now. Bad news is that. Good news is the coroner's office, I gave you a rough blueprint of the layouts of how the new coroner's office will look. If you're looking from the coroner's office lettering up, you're looking at the back of the building, which you'll see that it is a closed area to start. Body comes up, goes into the morgue, you have the autopsy room to the right of that, and up towards the front of the building where the stairs are, offices and meeting rooms and so forth. And upstairs, all offices with meeting rooms. So this, just to give you an update, it's not a finalized sketch. There's some things that we do need to change again here that was, I brought to the doc's attention, and so this is just a rough idea of what it's gonna look like at the morgue and at the coroner's office.
Great. And the basement is gonna just remain
Basement, cold storage,
cold
not-
storage, okay.
no
Not
pun.
that cold.
Not pun. No pun intended, but finally cabinet storage, you know, that kind of things, and or meeting room. I mean, there's plenty of reading, like if the detectives and they're working on a case and with the dog, there's plenty of meeting room spaces.
Oh, there is.
So again,
Beautiful
you know,
meeting room down
it'll
there.
work well for both entities, so.
Good, good. I just don't want that to go to, you know,
No,
just
and of course,
storage. I
it's
think
just
that we
good
should
cold
keep that,
storage, so.
yeah, keep that,
We'll look at that.
conference room down
Okay.
there. That's very good.
Yeah, so it's all available, so they have the
Good.
whole building, so. That's,
There,
like I
there's
said,
an awful lot of offices still upstairs. How many employees?
they need they need 10 offices. So they're actually short, so if you're looking from the letter up to the front where the stairs are, there's office number 2 and 3. Like I said, I talked to the doc when I saw this, and I asked him about his number of offices. Now they're gonna divide 2 and 3 into 3 equal spaces, since that is one long picture window, and he wants everybody to have a natural light in their offices. So that's something that's gonna have to go back to the architect to reconfigure, resketch, redo. So that's, like I said, this is a rough draft, but it gives you just the idea of county coroner morgue's office.
No offices on the first floor?
One,
Just one?
just one.
Medical examiner or?
The medical examiner would be upstairs. Dr. D'Amico's office is number 7. Then, I think his is, I don't
2
know
or
which
3,
one-
maybe?
Yeah, I don't know which one would be his. I mean, Doc just picked his out, so that was Frank's old office, but Migliossi's from the health department. Like I said, just a rough sketch, still working on some details in it, trying to get the needs and wants of the corner.
What do we need security wise? Anything special?
I don't think they
Key
don't
fob
have security
thing?
now, other than a key fob, intercom that they ring, somebody comes in, but they come down to meet the clients. Here, it's either coming up their handicap ramp stairs, which, you know, they could have the same waiting area out front. Key fob, somebody comes downstairs, meets, greets, or if they're anticipating somebody, schedule them, conference table. Stuff we kinda like talked about the other day when we were at the corner.
And there's really no reason for the public to utilize?
Nope, it's not public
This building at
accessible,
all.
other than for, you know,
Family.
family members grieving, whatever they need to do to find out what happened to their individuals.
Gotcha.
And they'll have their own entrance.
Own
where the-
entrance,
where the
front entrance, back
dedicated
entrance.
entrance is for the,
Yes, that's in the back,
Yeah.
underneath the roof, which he has his own dedicated, you know, station for, you know, bodies they find, or whatever you wanna
Yeah.
call it, and it goes right up, whoever brings them goes right up, right in, they're secured, nobody wanders through the building. It's just
perfect, it's worked out well.
latest and greatest, and of course, not knowing what the, you know,
Yeah.
the facility is now, so.
For years, Bill, they've been wanting to get out of the facility that they're in, and they looked at a number of facilities, but this is, this meets their needs and it fills a need for us too, because it would otherwise be empty building or storage.
Yes.
So. Yeah. Got any? Tim?
I got one for you too.
All right.
Tim Hanford, Trumbull County IT. This is based on security of the building. Right now, as has been mentioned in the past, we need to do an upgrade to our key fob system for this building. This is the proposal for it. This will also add the addition of a key fob at the front door, so that, during off hours, employees will be required to use a key fob in order to access the building, along with their hard key. The issue that we currently have there is right now we only have the hard key for everybody. Somebody could potentially, even if it says do not duplicate, could potentially get a copy of that key made. Could, if they are dismissed, refuse to return their key, they'll have access to the building. So this would enable us to provide some level of security there. We will not be getting rid of that hard key. It will be an additional layer of security for that front area there.
So if someone were to lose their keys, you just
Yes.
change the code for that person, it doesn't affect everybody else.
It wouldn't affect everybody else.
Yeah. It's a
Or-
fob.
It would
We
be a fob.
turn off the fob,
Right.
so it wouldn't,
Everyone would have their own
Like
unique
I
thing
have-
too, we'd be
I
able
have
to
a
tell who entered and who exited based
Correct.
on the fob.
The fob that you have here right now, that would be the fob that you would use. We could shut it off. You say, hey, I lost my keys, fine, we'll shut it off. No, that fob would be useless. We'll issue a new fob.
All right.
And we'll have it on all doors, all the way around.
For all doors that have been identified, yes. Yeah, all office doors and that have been identified, they're the ones that we currently have in place now, there will be upgrades to those. We also identified several other areas that are giving access to, areas that should be, at least restricted.
I do have one more note on my end, sir, first. Fairgrounds reached out to me about upgrading lighting under the grandstands. Apparently they had some fire issues last year. I think 7 of the old transformers blew up under the grandstands, caught fire. He reached out to me, he got a quote, which is $22,000. Moving forward, if this is what you want me to do to help prepare with the grandstand lighting issues underneath the grandstands, not under the basement part of it, but the upper stairs of the grandstand,
Yeah, we need
the
to
actual
do it.
public sitting area.
Yeah, no, absolutely, that's a must.
And then going into a contract for, our 11th District Court of Appeals process, I could put on the agenda for next workshop session.
With the architect?
It's 7,000, it'd be 7,000 and change. I have it downstairs, I forgot to bring it up when I was coming up this
We'll
morning.
put it on next week. That's
I
fine.
will write it up, give to Lisa for next week's agenda workshop, if that's feasible to get that started. Mr. Danzo, I do have a rough sketch that we could present to Warren City, but I don't have a cost affiliated with that yet, just because.
And for my purpose for the city of Warren, I don't really need the cost for them, just the rough sketch would
Okay.
be great.
I have that.
And then I can start the process of at least exploring the easement with them.
I forgot to bring that today, so I'll bring that to you.
Would that just be an extended easement, or like a, is
Yeah.
that what we'd be looking for?
That's the proposal right now. I've had preliminary talks with a person in the City of Warren Law Department and Engineering Office. Right now, the county has a non-exclusive easement to use the driveway and parking, part of the parking area that's owned by the City of Warren for our Court of Appeals here in the county. It doesn't really, the way it's written right now, doesn't really contemplate blocking it off to all traffic the way that the fence would do. So the best way, the safest way that we agreed with the City of Warren would be to explore just expanding that easement to make it a permanent easement to reflect that the fence will be in there, and make sure everything's above board. The city preliminarily had no problem with that, at least the officials I talked to, but they wanted to see a drawing first and exactly what we were talking about. And I think this will help move that forward. Then we can talk about the easement, we can get it hopefully approved. That way, no matter what type of fence or anything like that, at least that section will be done, the easement section will be done. So that'll be great.
So in order for us to get that approved, we have to get the architect on first.
Well, I have a rough sketch already, which I'll.
But we still need to enter into a or
Yes,
retain.
yes, but he gave me a rough sketch, so,
Are you sending that over to the city?
yes, I will give that to Mr.
Okay,
D'Angelo,
perfect.
so he can move on his end while we're getting his end squared
That'd
away.
be
So
perfect.
we're like, trying to keep it going.
Good.
Martha Yoder, Trumbull County Auditor, is the plan for the cost for this to be completely borne by the county, or were we looking, because it is a security issue, at how we prorate things through the various counties?
Sorry, Phil.
I should just pull the chair up.
Yeah, you should.
So, the answer is it's not gonna be all borne by Trumbull County, as far as I'm aware. The statutory authority, essentially any expense of that court, because it is a 5-county district, is divided out among all 5 counties. And, it's done proportionally by population, so we will bear, a bigger percentage than everyone but Lake County.
Right.
Lake County's a little bit higher. So it will be divided out, and that is one thing that I think would be good at some point, once we get some maybe more concrete pricing information, though it really is something that the court needs done probably, we should make sure we have the buy-in from those other counties, just so they understand what's going on. But the other thing too that has been discussed to some degree is, the EMA Director Hickey has talked about maybe exploring even some type of a, emergency management grant for some of the security upgrades. Now, whether or not the fence would be included in that, I'm not sure, but for some of the other proposed upgrades out there, he's talked about that to perhaps help with offsetting some of the cost of
Right.
security upgrades, at least.
I was unaware of that. Okay.
Yeah, that's, and again, I don't, he likewise, though, needed a little bit of, to submit a grant application, obviously, you
Sure.
have to sort of know what you wanna do. So there'd be some preliminary discussion there, but, that's at least in the workings.
I think too, before also that parking lot is gonna need,
Yes,
It's
well,
gonna
that's
be-
gonna have to be part of the
that's gonna be part
engineering
of it.
cost,
Okay,
yes.
all right. Just to be sure that we're covering all our bases.
From our gate back
Yes.
into the parking spaces, because the easement of Warren City goes straight back. So, if they're willing to, Warren City's willing to do their part from the street to the gate, and then we do ours from the back, or do we do the whole thing since it's their property? There we go, Mr. D'Angelo.
And so that's you.
I would be perfectly happy to have the city pave that other portion.
Yeah, me too.
I also-
But I don't know
understand.
how they're gonna view that, because if we're asking for it to be an exclusive easement for just the
For us.
court's use.
But is there a way that
we
we can pave it and they just, like, as part of the easement, we take care of
authorize that? And I do think that's a possibility. Yeah.
If they're not using that, they're probably not.
Well, they're going to use it since they have their engineering now there, so they're gonna be parking along their building.
Okay,
in
well,
front
then
of their
it's worth
space.
Well,
discussion,
then
yeah.
Okay, I was
And I
unaware.
did ask Mr. McCoskey that question, hey, if we do this back half, can you do this whole stretch in the front?
Okay,
well,
So,
great.
and that's like, we're trying to work together with
Yes,
Warren City.
perfect,
So-
perfect,
Yeah, I prefer that, obviously.
yes.
So, moving
Thank
forward.
you.
Yeah, no problem.
For me?
How are you for you?
Martha Yoder, Trumbull County Auditor. I have a packet, for each of you. Just wanna review a few things, and I have some specific questions for you. Also, I have one thing that I didn't include on this, and I'll mention it when I get to it. Approvals, denials, and updates. Howland Historical Society was approved for revenue loss of $3,000. If you'll recall, they had requested $19,000 for one of their buildings. She did not find that eligible, but did, similar to what was happened before with another one, the historical, said that there was enough revenue loss to do $3,000. Do you want
Okay.
that resolution created for next week's
Yes, please.
agenda? Great, I will do that, I will.
So they only got approved for 3,000.
Correct, and, they had also had another request, so I don't know, they have not submitted that, but I have a feeling that because they've gotten this, this is probably all they're gonna get. I don't know if you want me to reach back out to, Mary Jane Benetti, who's the one who's handled the request and just explained that, I know I need to reach out to her and explain they're only getting the 3, but they may not wanna invest the time and energy into asking for more.
Oh, they came to the meeting here and asked about it, we, you know,
Yes, but
So-
that was prior to,
You can reach
us
out,
knowing
she
it.
can reach out.
I need to let them
Since
know
they're only
anyway.
getting
I need to
a
let
small
them know they're
portion of
only
what
getting
they were-
3,000.
Yes.
So,
exactly.
and I can have a discussion with her. I mean, certainly they're welcome to apply, but I just don't know that if it's gonna be worth their time
Right.
considering this, because it's a very similar request. But I will go ahead and reach out to them and also, let Attorney Rogers know that we need the resolution. There are the still pending requests that are there. The Warren Township request that we had frozen, 67,450. I think when I had talked about this last, trustee Anthony had, wanted to speak with, Attorney Rogers and asked that I ask Attorney Rogers, talk to her. It's not on there.
Okay.
This is the extra one, sorry.
All right.
Sorry, I'm not
That's
meaning
okay.
to be confusing. I forgot to put it on here because I
That's
got
okay.
very wrapped up in the whole Bristol thing. I
No worries.
apologize. So they did resubmit for something else is the long and short of it. After Attorney Rogers spoke with them, they understood the reasoning and were, Mr. Anthony, so they have submitted for playground equipment. My
Okay.
question for you on this, and it's for the same amount, is the date of their original, the date of their original request was, June 15th, 2023. That would put it up next after the pending request, or do we wanna put it at the end? That's my question on
I'd put it back up, these townships
Okay.
that are getting denials and
Okay.
things like that,
Okay.
we're
All right, I will
jacking
put
them
it-
around, and we
All right,
need
that's
to,
fine.
That's fine.
Okay, so when I'm ready to submit more, it'll be, when I get this list to you next week, it'll be updated that way. All right, and then, the biggest thing that I need to talk to you about is the letters that were received from Chief Krager and the Bristol Township Board of Trustees. First regarding the letter from the trustees, and you guys got this, I also got this. They seem to be under the impression that I made the decision on the ambulance request. And, I did respond to them explaining my role in the process and that I have 0 decision-making power. I also explained the attorney's role, and that so far, the board has not gone against any recommendations from the attorney. I looked back in my email correspondence because I was like, did I give them the wrong idea? And I could not find anything that would lead me to believe that, or lead them to believe that. And I also could find nothing when I racked my brain, because I've had conversations with, I remember for sure that I had a conversation with, trustee Chicolo, with regard to, you know, he kind of inherited a request that they decided they didn't want. And I also had conversations with, trustee Seaman, and I could not, I can't think of anything that I would have said that would have led them to believe that. I also think, to be honest with you, if they're listening to these meetings, they would know I'm not making these decisions. But, so I did let them know that. I forwarded the letter that I received, that we all received, to Attorney Rogers, and then followed up with a conversation with her on Friday, particularly about the issue of privilege, because that was a concern that they raised. And, in one of the emails that I sent to both Fire Chief Krager and Trustee Seaman, I did say that the opinions are privileged. Attorney Rogers sent you an email after we had a conversation, I was CC'd on it, and she addressed the privilege issue, advising the board to, against waiving privilege and releasing these opinions to the public. That was her advice, if you go back to the letter or the email. And just want to note too, again, only the board can waive privilege. I'm not.
She's advising against it.
She's advising against it. You guys are the clients, all right? She said also in the email that she would reconsider the request if you would like her to do so. And although she does not currently have the letter from Chief Krieger, I did read it to her when we were talking. So I just want to say one more thing, and then I have some questions for you. Within the letter from the trustees, they request an administrative review of this decision, which they think I made. So while Attorney Rogers interpreted this as like part of the request for the reconsideration, I really don't. I kinda think that it's based on their mistaken belief that somehow I made this decision as well as just kind of a misunderstanding of our roles generally. And I just wanna make it really clear publicly that I don't make decisions for you guys, and you guys don't review mine, because I'm or any other elected official.
Correct.
The decisions I make for my office. There's a separation there. Right now, this is cooperation, and I'm happy to participate and cooperate, but
Well,
I want publicly for people to know that because they don't seem to know that.
if they're asking for an administrative review, this is a legal,
Right.
there's nothing administratively we can review.
Right, absolutely.
This is a legal precedent.
So,
We don't have to take Tanya's advice.
correct, and that's my question for you guys, but I have some things, I have some things just to ask about this and also to note on this. All right, my first question, because I have two based on all of this, right? The first question is, do you wish to waive privilege and release that opinion letter to Bristol? I would just suggest that if you haven't read the letter from her, the email, that you go back and do that before you make up your mind on that. I also want you guys to know that I gave them an overview of the reasons for the denial without releasing the opinion, and it's included in your packet, the email that I sent.
That's where they're probably thinking you were a part of the denial, when in
Right,
fact you
well,
were just
But
relaying
if you read it,
information.
I don't think, I thought I made it clear,
Yeah.
but maybe not. Usually I don't have a problem with communication. But anyway, usually I over-communicate. So I included the email there so that you guys could see what I did. I also had blind copied Tanya, our Attorney Rogers, on it, so she knew what I was doing. But I basically gave them as much information as I could give them without releasing the letter to them. The opinion letter is not a public record. They seem to believe that it is. It's not, because it's privileged. And again, as I stated above, I don't have the authority to waive privilege. Whatever you guys decide to do, I want one of you on authority from the board to reply directly in writing to the Bristol Board of Trustees. I think it's better for me to just step out of this conversation at this point. I'm not gonna get into it publicly, but there's some backstory here that I think makes me think that there's some perceived bias. It's a Farmington thing, all right? So I think it's better, you guys reply. If you guys wanna waive it, fine, you waive it. If you don't wanna waive it, don't waive it, but you tell them, I'm not gonna do that, all right?
I'd like to reread it and
All
go
right,
over
you guys
exactly what it
decide,
is.
I won't, you guys can talk about it tomorrow, I won't be here, the only thing I ask is that I know that it's been waived, just for my own benefit. But I won't be here tomorrow, I'm out of the office for the rest of the week. My second question to you, and this one I do want an answer to today. Do you want the chief's letter sent to Attorney Rogers along with, I would like an answer, I don't have to have one, but do you want the chief's letter sent to Attorney Rogers along with that request for her to reconsider?
Sure.
I would say, one, I would, to clear up, totally clear where the decision came from on this, I would waive privilege for one, and two, I would send this stuff over, and even going an extra mile with this, you know, I'm gonna jump in with Bristol on contesting the decision too, because I can't see any way possible how we approve 5, one's differently, but I can guarantee you that if Roger Peterson would've wrote the Bristol application and submitted it,
It's all about data, I'm sorry.
I know that, but data can be manipulated a million different ways. And if they look at the amount of calls increased by other townships around them, who was covering what at what time, staffing levels at certain times because of COVID, maybe Bristol couldn't respond to some, so Champion picked up the slack on a lot of the stuff in some calls. I think that data can be subjective in a lot of different ways. And for one township where the people south of them and the people north of them both got ambulances, you can't tell me the people in the middle were with some, band of things that weren't affected by COVID when the ones north and south were in the same ways. So that's where I think there are some writing skills, there are some wordsmithing things in here, that buzzword things where maybe Bristol didn't paint the picture or elaborate as good as they could have, the need based on what Tanya's looking for, and all Tanya can go by is what's given to her. She She can't fill in the blanks herself, she can only go by what the data is that she's given.
And I agree with you on that. She can only go with the data, but they haven't submitted any more data. Now, the letter, I read the letter to her, from Chief Krieger, and, again, when she says in her email to you guys, 'cause I have that with me,
Should we
I have a
not
copy of
discuss that, or should we discuss it? Okay. I'm just saying.
I won't read the whole thing,
Yeah.
I won't read it then. But she does say that she's happy to reevaluate, but the information that she was provided, which although she does not have a copy of Krieger's letter, I read it to her. Now, her reviewing it, that may change some things, but I'm just explaining to you.
Okay, why don't we do that then? We'll send Krieger's letter over
I'll
to
be
her.
glad to do that,
Yeah.
and the request to reconsider.
And
And
before
again,
we waive any privilege, let me read over what they're saying.
Right.
What she-
Sure, and I would wanna look at their grant, and maybe Mr. Krieger can call Mr. Peterson and say, hey, look over our submission. You seem to be doing things perfect with your application, can you look at ours, what are we missing? What data is out there that you know of as a service safety director in Geauga? What things are we missing here that we might not be putting in here that we need?
and that's fine. I mean, if that's what you guys wanna do. But I want to just, tell you to look, you have the ability to look at the request from Krieger. It's on the Commissioner's Drive. You guys can pull that up. It is also on the email that you received from Attorney
Yeah.
Rogers has the original request, has not only the denial letter, but the original request attached, as well as the correspondence between Attorney Rogers and the township.
Right, well,
And
I saw that, and
has-
that's where I
and
think
that
the
has-
correspondence was
and that
missing
has-
facts.
Well, let's start with submitting Krieger's letter
I'm fine with
to Attorney
that.
Rogers, and then we'll look over, and if we have to waive privilege on that to show.
Right.
Let's see what Attorney Rogers says to that letter first.
All right,
Is that okay? Before we get ahead of ourselves.
that's
you know.
fine. And again, I'm gonna reiterate that if
Oh, but I do
If that-
agree too, Mr. Krieger's letter doesn't contain more facts that you may be looking for. I think there were still facts out there that were not included in the letter or included in their application that could be pertinent to her making a decision that's gonna help her follow the law better.
Well, but, once maybe that's letter submitted to her and she reaches out to Mr. Krieger, and they can go over, what they need to do to shore up the application.
and I will,
And if they don't do that, then we'll waive the privilege and go from there, potentially.
I would like you to look at, before you waive privilege, to look at what I sent to them versus the letter itself. I think,
Oh, I'm sure
I
it was
know that you guys,
misconstrued.
I know that you guys get a lot of things across your desk, and I do this too, and we don't always read things as thoroughly as we should. And I think it's really important for you guys to do that, to read what I wrote and compare it to that letter, so you can see
I will.
exactly what I gave them. So, I think that, and again, two things. I think that perhaps they thought I was gatekeeping on this.
Yeah.
And I wasn't, I was just I don't have that authority. I was trying to do what I'm legally allowed to do.
Right.
I also think, like I said, that they think that there's some bias there, and I really wanna make sure that you guys understand, other than the basic communication that I'm going to do as far as communicating with Attorney Rogers, accepting anything, and a lot of times, once it's in Attorney Rogers' hands, realize I don't do a lot of back and forth with the folks, she does it, so I think I'm stepping as far away from this as I can.
If there's a way that the data is being misinterpreted, or if there's other data that needs to be included, I hope Attorney Rogers is getting that information out of each township so that
She
she's
is,
not.
I see the correspondence that goes back and forth, and it's included with your stuff. She asked for the specific things that she had gotten from every other township. So she is not moved by flowery words.
No, I
She
get it.
looks at the facts, and she asks for the facts. And so, sometimes, yes, I think it's good for us to step in and help a little bit. I did with, like, the generators,
Mhm.
right? Because the response she got from Kinsman on the generator was, no, we don't have that data, and nobody went after it.
Right.
And so I encouraged them to go after it. I've tried to do this with all the townships. I've tried to be as equal as I can with folks. I do think that there's a perception there that, against me on this, I just do.
And you're
And so-
just facilitating the process.
That's all I'm
you're
trying
doing
to
there.
do, and I've tried to make that clear to everybody. But it's very frustrating when I know I put a lot of extra time and effort on this, and I've spent a lot of time and time talking to all of these townships and all of these entities whenever they had a specific question and fielding that. So Attorney Rogers didn't have to on some things, right?
Right.
Things that aren't on her desk stuff yet. And anything, I communicate the things when we have these folks that have the frozen money, right? I communicate the types of projects that Attorney Rogers has communicated to all of us. I communicate that to all of them. So I spend a lot of time, it's a little bit, I know they're frustrated, and I get that.
Yeah.
But I'm a little frustrated too, because if you read both of those letters, and also the original email that I got from Krieger, where I responded to give him, that I couldn't give them the request, it was very, almost accusatory, to be honest, that like somehow I've done something wrong, and I haven't. So, the only other thing on this is just the updated, you have the updated yes sheet and the bottom line. You'll notice the bottom line increased slightly over last week. That's because the less of a grant to, Howland. It's a
Oh, yeah.
$16,000.
The $16,000.
Yep, that's it. That's all I have.
Okay. Very good. Anything else?
So we'll wait until these next 5 are ruled on before we move the next 5 up. Right?
Pardon me?
We're gonna wait until these 5 are,
That's up to you guys. Again, I don't make decisions.
right, did we already decide that last meeting?
These have been pending for quite
They've
some
been
time.
pending. I mean, if you would like
I mean-
to add some, want me to send the Warren one on, or a couple more, usually we send them in groups of 5, but
Right, I think that's
has
what
a
we
lot-
decided last meeting, was
Yeah.
to do 5 more, didn't we?
Let's do 5 more, while these are
all right,
pending,
that's fine.
because I think she can manage both.
Yes, especially ones that have been pending for a while.
Yes,
A lot of times she's just waiting for correspondence. So, I'll do the next 5.
yeah,
And when I say the next 5, Warren Township is the top one on that,
Right,
because of what you guys already said.
right.
And so that would go then down to, let's see, the USS Oklahoma would be the last one that's on this 5. Does that make sense? So it's the 4 that are listed plus Warren Township. Next page. Actually, yeah. So the next page, under the goals, we would put Warren Township first, the ones that aren't highlighted.
Okay.
I'd insert that in there, and then Optimist Club, Girard Community, Committee, Newton Falls Joint Fire District, and USS Oklahoma.
Fine.
Right?
Good with that?
I'm good with that.
All right, thank you.
Okay, anybody else have anything?
Well, make a motion to adjourn?
I'll second that.
Mr. Cantala Mesa,
Yes.
Mr. Malloy,
Yes.
Bring that